Even the most famous directors and artists make mistakes from time to time. People who watch movies closely have found hundreds of mistakes that don't seem like big deals. There are a lot of them, like when fake babies in Starbucks cups show up in period dramas or when continuity mistakes and story holes happen. Because movie mistakes are so common, someone made a website just to keep track of them. Movie Mistakes is a good name for the website. The good news is most of the time, these errors don't make a big difference in how the show is watched. You'll still be able to enjoy the movie even though there are mistakes that serve as Easter eggs for the movie and make it a little more fun to watch. Here, without further ado, are some of the biggest mistakes in movies that made it through the cutting process and were shown to the public anyway. Number 13, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines 2003, Change of Planes. We think that during the last part of Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, there were probably a few different kinds of planes flying around. Keep a close eye on the number of Cessna planes that John Connor owns, as it changes. When it's in the building, it has a registration number of N3035C. When it's in the air, it has a registration number of N3413F. Number 12, Bad Boys 1983. No, we're not talking about the famous action movie from the 1990s with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. Bad Boys, which came out in the 1980s and starred Sean Penn and Isaiah Morales, has one of the movie flaws that are easy to spot. During the heated fight between the two main characters, there might be a cameraman hiding in the shadows. It looks like no one caught this mistake when the movie was being edited because it's still in the movie after all the cuts were made. Number 11, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets 2002, Visible Cameraman. Even with all the tools and people involved in film editing, it's hard to believe that mistakes like the cameraman being in shot still make it into the final print. During the fight scene between Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, a cameraman can be seen in the background. This is another box office hit with this kind of mistake. Number 10, Little Women 2009. When modern things are put into a movie story, it's one of the most common mistakes that can happen. In the 2019 improved version of Little Women, there's a shot where you could see a plastic bottle in the background. Since the movie's set in 1863, when plastic bottles didn't exist, this is a mistake. Number 9, Avengers Endgame 2019, 2 Ant-Mans. There's a lot going on in the final movie of the Avengers series, so it's not surprising that a mistake could happen. Nobody could have predicted that the filmmakers would miss something as important as two people being in different places at the same time. Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne are trying to hotwire a van at the same time that a huge Ant-Man and the other heroes are fighting Thanos' army. There are a lot of theories on the internet about why there are 2 Ant-Men in the movie, but we think it was just a mistake that the Russo brothers didn't notice. Number 8, Pulp Fiction 1994, Bullet Holes. One of the most memorable parts of Pulp Fiction is when Vincent Vega, John Travolta, and Jules Winfield, Samuel L. Jackson, walk to Brett's apartment to get a suitcase for their boss, Marcellus Wallace. This particular part of the movie is another big mistake. Even though it shouldn't be there until they fight Brett and his friends, which happens just minutes after they get there, there are bullet holes in the wall when they walk in. This is just a simple problem with consistency, which is one of the most common mistakes that can happen when making a movie. Number 7, North by Northwest, 1959, Gunshot Incoming. In a scene that takes place in a Mount Rushmore cafe, Eva Marie Saint pulls a gun on Cary Grant out of the blue and fires it. Even though it's a surprise when you watch it, if you pay close attention, you'll see that one of the actors told you what was going to happen. A small boy can be seen in the background covering his ears in preparation for the shot. This shows where the event took place. Number 6, Batman 1989, Handprints. Movie Mistakes says there's 89 mistakes in Tim Burton's movie Batman. One of the most obvious is that Joker and his followers burned the museum. When one of the Joker's goons rubs his hands against a painting, leaving red handprints, the next shot of the painting shows no handprints at all, even though the first shot showed handprints. Number 5, Legally Blonde 2001, No Water. After impressing people in her first movie, Cruel Intentions, Reese Witherspoon became a real star with her role as the blonde sorority girl who gets a law degree in the 2001 surprise hit Legally Blonde. One of the mistakes in the movie happens when Reese Witherspoon is waiting in line at her school's water station to get a drink. If you pay close attention, you'll notice the person using the water faucet isn't drinking anything. Instead, they're just taking air in through their mouth. But as soon as someone gets in front of Witherspoon and drinks from the fountain, water starts to come out of it. Number 4, Pretty Woman, 1990, Croissant to Pancake. Julia Roberts plays a woman who picks up guys but has a good heart in Gary Marshall's groundbreaking romantic comedy from 1990. You might not have noticed, but in one scene when Roberts is having breakfast, you can see a croissant in her mouth. The camera cuts back and forth between Julia Roberts and Richard Gere as they talk. When the camera goes back to Roberts, she's eating a pancake. Number 3, American Sniper, 2014, Fake Baby. In 2014, one of the biggest hits was a war movie based on real events directed by Clint Eastwood. After his work in the Hangover series, this movie helped Bradley Cooper show that he was a serious actor. In addition, the movie American Sniper shows what is possibly the most lifeless artificial baby ever presented on film. In one scene, Cooper is seen holding what looks like a plastic baby doll that's supposed to be his new baby. It's a strange thing to happen in the middle of a great movie. Number 2, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, 2019, Wrong Plane. John Travolta, who's both an actor and a pilot, was the one who caught this mistake. At the end of the movie, Leonardo DiCaprio plays Rick Dalton and takes a Boeing 747 from Europe to the United States. The movie was made by Quentin Tarantino. It turns out that it wouldn't be possible at all, since the 747 didn't start flying commercially until 1970, and the show takes place in 1969. Well, the 747 took its first flight in February 1969, but it wasn't officially put into service until January of 1970, Travolta said. They're 9 months behind plan. During that time, he would have been on a Boeing 707. Number 1, Star Wars: A New Hope, 1977, hit head. This is the most common mistake that can be made in movies. Star Wars: A New Hope, a popular science fiction book, has a scene where a group of stormtroopers walk up to a control room and one of them hits their head on the door. I thought I probably wouldn't be in the frame, so I thought I'd get cut. Laurie Good, who played the stormtrooper who accidentally hit his head in the scene, told The Hollywood Reporter. But since I was playing a stormtrooper, I had to play a stormtrooper. But when I finally saw it on the big screen, I thought, oh my god, that's me! Since the event happened, I've been telling different groups about it. And that was all from our side. What do you think of these mistakes? Did you know them before you watched this video? Let us know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you again very soon.